Welcome back to 13 Seek. Today we're continuing out the latest in our line of pistol-mounted red dot optics, or I guess micro red dot optics that are good for use on pistols. How about that? So this is the Advance from Bushnell, and it's been in for testing from them for I don't know, about 2 months, maybe a little bit more. You've seen on a number of different handguns, from this Ruger Mk4 to a Glock 34 takes the MOS 1 plate, as well as it's been on a number of other different rifles and pistols with braces as well. The quarter circle 10 build, the builder's kit that we built up, put a ton of rounds through that, including suppressed. This is on probably its final home. It's going to wind up living here probably on this Ruger Mk4, at least for the time being anyway. I think for this handgun and this setup, it's probably a pretty solid choice for it. A little backstory on this really quick. When I first saw this at SHOT Show, this was named the Engulf, and if you look at a couple different websites where you can find it listed, you'll sometimes see the name Engulf Advance with those words together. The Engulf was the kind of working product name when it dropped at SHOT Show. I don't remember if it was this year or last year, but in any event, it is now the Advance. Period. Engulf has been dropped. So if you see that and you're wondering what's the difference, what's going on there, that's what it is. Because I had one or two people say, hey, it looks like this, and it is that, but the Engulf name has just been dropped. Anyway, moving on to the rest of this, it has a 5 MOA dot on it. At some point, we're going to make an actual video dedicated just to that. In each little video we've been doing here, and we're going to continue to do, I'll drop a couple nuggets. We're going to make one final kind of video just talking about all the different points as it pertains to how I feel about pistol-mounted red dot optics, some of the things that I've encountered, some tips, tricks, and just other general thoughts. 5 MOA dot. If I was going to put this on a rifle for doing any kind of I don't want to say distance, because you don't necessarily use red dots for distance per se, but if you're going out to 100 yards to 300 yards, 5 MOA can be a little big. If you're talking about putting on a pistol or a shotgun especially, 5 MOA can be a pretty decent dot choice. Preferably, I like the 2.0 dots for rifles, 2 MOA dots, that is. And then on handguns, somewhere kind of in the middle. 3.25 dot is actually pretty ideal. I think, trading off your precision versus speed and ability to pick up. So somewhere in there, somewhere between the 2 and 5 is, for a handgun, is what I would be looking at. I honestly would not really, under any circumstances, would I want to go above a 5 MOA dot. This would kind of be toward the top end for that. In the spectrum of the series that we're doing on pistol-mounted red dots, we're taking it all the way from entry level all the way up low to high end on the price point spectrum as well. This is going to sit down toward the lower end of that price spectrum. MSRP on this is about $250. I'll put some links down below if you'd like. You could actually find the street price on this, especially using some coupon codes. You can get this down in the $150, maybe just a touch under that, depending on what kind of deal is going on, what kind of coupon codes you can stack on top. So we're going to focus in on this and its price point and where it's at and how it's performed for us to date. Haven't had any issues with it performing thus far on any of those, any of what we've mentioned. This is listed battery life as extended battery life in the manual. As far as I reached out to Bushnell with a couple of questions for clarification. For example, what does extended battery life mean? For this optic, it means 10,000 hours at medium setting. It takes a standard 2032 battery that loads in from the side here, which is nice. You don't have to take it apart or move it off or anything to get it on there. Unscrew it, slide the battery tray out, drop a new battery in, you're good to go. Which is nice to see they use some extended technology in there. 10,000 hours medium setting. That's not going to do you too bad in that regard. It is listed as fully waterproof and shockproof. So, so that was another thing I reached out to him with. What does that mean, fully waterproof? This is IPX7 rated. We've done a number of different optics. We've told you about IPX7 before. IPX7 is an industry standard. It means that this is rated for submersion in water up to 1 meter for a specified time period. And I'm trying to remember if that's 15 or 30 minutes off the top of my head. I will put that down below. I just drew a blank on that. In any case, fully submersible up to 1 meter for that listed time period. It covers that. As far as drop proof, something like that, shock proof at least, for what we've used it for and what we've done with it, we have not seen any options yet. Because it's got this target sight on the back here, I'm not going to drop this on this one right here in front of you. We'll wind up dropping it on the probably that Glock 34 I was talking about earlier, G34, and show you the results from that. We have already. We dusted off the cover. It's fine. Now this was on grass. Again, I'm not trying to destroy any of these optics in the series because I want to see how they all perform over time as opposed to something destructive right out of the gate. I want to actually see how these do in use, getting a lot of rounds through them over the span of the next 6, 9, maybe 12 months, depending on how this plays out and how far we go with this and what all of you want to see as well. So we're not going to purposely try and destroy it, but as far as dropping it from about chest level onto grass, we didn't see any issues with that. We didn't see any losing zero or anything else. If you want to see more destructive testing, it's not going to happen right now. Maybe in the future as we see how this thing holds up and then we put it through some more of its paces, but right now it just doesn't fit for what we want to do and what we're trying to show you, some more real life use of what you're actually going to get with this. Now as far as we toss it in the bag, bounces around in the UTV, things like that, that's the type of stuff, real world situations that we're going to encounter versus purposely trying to destroy them. Hopefully that helps. It's listed as 2.2 ounces with the mount. Get the mount off here, put it on a plate. You're going to shave off a decent amount of that weight. It's not for 2.2 ounces. It's not heavy. It's not changing really the balance of the pistol. Where I like to put these on rails and stuff, it's going to sit pretty much right where you want it to be anyway. Turning this on and off. To turn it on, you just push the up button on the side here. Turns on. To lower the brightness up and down, you just push either button. Up is brighter, down is less. To turn it off, push and hold that down button for about 5 seconds. It will turn itself off. We're going to adjust this. This has the locking screws in the back, which are common to a lot of these sub $300 red dot optics that are like this. You have to unscrew to unlock it inside. You have to screw, not totally unscrew them, but back them off, loosen them, so that you can then adjust your elevation on the top and your windage on the side. It takes just a little tiny flathead screwdriver to do that. With both these, it comes with it. One of the things, again, within this price range, you're not really having any tactile response on there. Now it's listed in the manual how much each turn does, how much it'll adjust for windage and elevation. From what I remember, it does have 160 MOA of total adjustment, so you've got 80 MOA in either direction in this, and 1 hash. And there are little hashes on here. Moving it 1 hash moves it 5 MOA at 100 yards. So breaking that down, that is at 50 yards, that would be 2.5 MOA, which is just over an inch, or just over 2.5 inches, I should say. And then at 25 yards, that would make it 1.25 MOA. So about 1.27, something like that, inches at 25 yards. So that's where you're going to be on that. And as far as warranty, this comes with a 1-year warranty from Bushnell. Overall, this is a pretty straightforward optic. There isn't a ton of details to actually dive into here, other than it's all the stuff you generally look for. One thing I will note on here is that I am actually pretty happy to say that a lot of these micro red dots, and it doesn't matter whether you're talking about Holosun, Trijicon, Vortex, because of the way the front screen is shaped here, you are going to have a little bit of magnification, if you will, a little bit of difference in change in the size of the target when you're looking through it. Meaning that when you look through the window, the actual thing you're looking at is going to be slightly bigger. And depending on which optic it is, depends on how much that is. And I've tried to note that as we've gone through these. For this particular optic, you have a magnification increase that kind of draws your eye into the window a little bit because your target's a little bigger. You should be shooting pistol mounted red dots with both eyes open, preferably. If you're able to do that, I have a strong left eye dominance issue, but on pistols, I've really been able to work through a lot of those issues, and it's helped me a lot in shooting with both eyes open with pistol mounted red dots. I still have issues with that on rifles, being able to shoot with both eyes open, but having both of them out here in front of me, I'm able to do that fairly well. Again, this is stuff that's going to be in another full video to just kind of encapsulate all my thoughts as we've gone through our progression on pistol mounted red dots. Not an expert by any means, but as a guy coming off the street, getting into these over the last year or so, this is where we've been. I do believe that pistol mounted red dots are the are the wave of the future. They do make it a lot quicker, a lot easier, and a lot faster once you practice with them and you get good with them. I mentioned in some of our other postings and videos on this that don't just expect that you're going to pick this up and immediately everything's going to be better. You're going to pick up the dot quick and everything else. If you've been shooting handguns for a while, you have thousands, if not tens or hundreds of thousands of repetitions of presenting out to the target with iron sights. You're going to have to put practice and work in no matter what pistol mounted red dot you're going to have on there in order to pick up that dot quickly and efficiently every single time and get that muscle memory in. Because remember, you've been training on that muscle memory to pick up that front sight for how long? Probably since you've started shooting. So keep that in mind as you go through with any of these. This long circuitous route to get back to what I was talking about there being some perceived magnification through the window. So this does make your, whatever you're aiming at, your target look a little bigger in the window. I wouldn't say it's out of the norm from other pistol mounted red dots we've seen so far across the price spectrum, but like several of them that are out on the market, your target is going to have a slight magnification to it. And we're not talking a lot, you know, we're talking about 1.1, 1.2, something like that. Nothing crazy, but if you're looking for it, it is certainly noticeable. Again, not necessarily a bad thing. It's just something to keep in mind if that's something that bothers you. I will also say that the coating, so all these, any pistol mounted red dots, there has to be some sort of coating on the lens to help the dot reflect off of it. As far as conditions right now, we're overcast, we're nice. I haven't had any problems with this washing out in the sun yet when you crank it up to the maximum brightness. We've been out here on some bright days thus far. Right now, we're probably about medium setting and there's no problems picking it up. It's nice and clear looking through the glass on here with whatever coating they have on here. It's nice and clear. You're not getting like any sort of hue or distortion or color. As far as some higher end optics have a really noticeable green tint, which kind of sucks when you're shooting under conditions like this because it changes the color of your target and it's distracting. Flip side of that, if you're actually taking an optic like that and you've got sun coming in at a steep angle, some of those coatings can help mitigate some of the flare and just crap that comes up on the lens from being hit by low sun in the sky. So that's another thing to note that's common with optics toward the lower end of the price spectrum, is that if you're shooting and the sun's low on the horizon and coming in, you are going to get a little bit of flaring in the lens. Doesn't make it unusable, but it's just part of what happens with some of the coatings that are on here, depending on where you're going in that coating spectrum, how clear versus what you're going to do. It's what you have. So that's something else I wanted to note on this optic as well. So overall, I've been pretty pleased with this optic. It does what it says it's going to do. When I've had it on higher recoiling firearms and reciprocating slides, we haven't seen any battery flicker or point to impact change, anything like that to indicate there's anything going on internally here or with it that might give us a problem in the future. We'll obviously keep going through that. One more thing I did want to note, interestingly enough, there are no drain holes in here for water to drain out. Now, I say that only because there are a lot of ones out there that advertise, you know, they have drain holes and things like that. This one doesn't advertise it either. And I've seen throughout the spectrum of what we have in here so far over several different ones, over several different manufacturers, some of those holes are pinpoint holes that I don't think the friction tension of the water alone is going to allow them to drain out. And some of them are larger, which look like they would be fairly, hopefully efficient for draining water out. At the same time, you're talking about mounting this on a pistol that is going to have some recoil. Well, not this one really, it's 22, but at least especially on a reciprocating slide like the 9mm G34 we had it on, that thing is moving back and forth pretty violently. Any water in there theoretically should get blown out, and that's actually a test that we're going to be doing in another video coming up as we go through this whole series. What happens if you get water in there? Is it going to stay in there? Is it going to blow out as your slide reciprocates? Can you just dump it over? Can you blow in it, blow it out? Anyway, we're going to run through those as well. It doesn't have drain holes, so I thought I'd just note that because most of them do. Again, sealed, waterproof, dump it upside down, slide reciprocates, whatever the case may be. But I thought that was worth noting. Thanks again for joining us out here today. Hopefully the audio wasn't too bad. Quite a bit of wind here today as kind of these storm fronts are coming and going. We're missing all the rain, which has been awesome. So it's been a nice, cool day out here today. Overall, I've been pretty pleased with this optic. We haven't had any issues with it from reciprocating slides. There's been no issues with point impact shifts, point aim shifts, no issues with the dot going in and out from recoil from the slide, anything along those lines. It's done exactly what it said it's going to do, and in its price point where it's coming in at, you can't ask for much more than that. We're going to keep running this thing over the next 6 to 12 months. We're going to come back. Maybe we'll do some more testing on it as well at that point, see how she's done. You'll see this in a number of different videos coming forward. I'm going to use this 22 as one of our new suppressor hosts out here for some of the silencer and suppressor work that we do. And stick around for that. Please subscribe for those upcoming things. That's some of the best ways you can support us is actually just by subscribing, liking, commenting, and sharing on our videos. It helps to beat some of the YouTube algorithm suppressions, as well as Facebook and Instagram as well. Seeing that interaction goes a long way to help make sure that our stuff gets seen. If you do want to support us in a bigger way, you can go to 13cgunreviews.com, sign up for the newsletter. You'll also be being a member of the newsletter. You are automatically entered into some of the giveaways that we do. We have a trigger giveaway, another trigger giveaway coming up here for Independence Weekend. Which is going to, what, about 2 months out, something like that. So definitely get signed up for the newsletter. You'll be ready for that when we do other giveaways as well from time to time on there. Won't spam me out. We do no more than 1 email a week. Usually our emails are about 1 every 2 weeks, honestly. So maybe you're only getting 2, tops 3 a month. So won't spam you out, won't flood your email box. We appreciate it. And if you want to even go any further to support us, we don't have a Patreon or anything like that, but we do have a swag shop where you can pick up unique patches and things like that are 100% unique. You can only find them here at 13C. And you can do that at 13cgunreviews.com. Thanks again, everybody. Take care, stay safe, and we will talk soon.